Just sitting quietly, letting everything be as everything is. Just letting everything be as everything is. Just letting what comes come, letting what goes go, and seeing what remains. Okay, and take a minute to open the eyes. Okay. A few more people have joined us. Hi, Barbara. Good. So today we're reading from Seng-chan, known as the Third Zen Patriarch. Again, if you have this book, it's on page 26. If you don't have this book or don't have it handy, don't worry about it. I'll read out loud. So there's a succession of what are considered to be kind of the founding teachers in the Zen tradition. Seng-chan is the third of them. You'll see his name spelled different ways because there's these different systems of transliteration from Chinese, and also I've noticed. I've always for years seen him referred to as these guys referred to as the Zen patriarchs. I've noticed that lately they've started calling them the Zen founding teachers. I think this word patriarch has become politically incorrect. Let me allow you to unmute yourselves. So as usual, chime in when you feel like chiming in. So this is from, as I mentioned in the newsletter, there's very little that's known about Seng-chan historically. A lot of it is shrouded in mist. There is that great story, if you did read it in the newsletter, which bears repeating. The story is supposedly he came to his teacher, who was I forget his name, but he was the second Zen patriarch, and he came to him just as an aspirant, as someone wanting to practice Zen, and just came to him, basically said, I'm a mess. I'm just filled with, my life has just been terrible. I'm filled with sin. Please, Master Roshi, purify me of my sins. And the master said to him, show me your sins and I will purify them. And then the story says, there was a long silence. That's always the part to pay attention to when it says there was a long silence, because that's where the real action is, right on the inside. There was a long silence. And then it said, then Seng-chan said, I've searched everywhere for my sins. I can't find them. And the teacher said, then I've purified you. And then the punchline of the story, as always, in the punchline of these stories, is, and he was enlightened. Right. But isn't that interesting? Show me your sin. Show me your sins, and I'll purify them. I've heard another version where I don't even know if it's the same story or another similar story. Someone comes to a master, says, I'm being held by these chains of bondage. Please, master, cut my chains. And the master says, show me the chains and I will cut them. And he says, I can't find them. And he says, then you're free. Okay. You see what happened there? Do you see what's going on there? Where are the chains? Where are the sins that we feel so encrusted with, so bound by? Where are they?
In his mind.
Yeah. They're just in they're in the mind. Right. They're in the mind. And just when someone, and presumably this master is someone with quite a bit of presence, someone who's probably got some pretty good juju going on, so that when he says, okay, take a look and show them to me, you really feel that clarity. In the context of that clarity, you're looking, you go, well, all I find is a bunch of thoughts. There's nothing real here. There's nothing substantial here. It's just thoughts. Nowadays, this conversation for most people would not probably be in terms of sins. Some people would be, in certain religious traditions, obviously in the Catholic Church, but we get this idea that sin is something that has a substance. This idea of sin or original sin, they're like, it's like, ooh, you've got cooties. It's like some kind of stain that, how can we possibly remove this stain? Now, the word that's translated as sin, of course, this is not in the Zen tradition, but in the Christian tradition, the word that's translated as sin in the English version of the New Testament, in the New Testament, which was written in Greek, it's I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, amartia or amartia. Anyone know how to pronounce that? Amartia, something like that. Anyway, it's amartia. And what it literally means is missing the mark, means off the mark, which is great. It's not some kind of horrible stain that's been passed down to you, by starting with Adam and Eve, and everyone's stuck with it. And oh my God, we're just soiled. It's so awful. You missed the mark. Oh, you screwed up. You didn't quite hit the thing right on. You were trying to hit the bullseye of right action and you didn't hit it right there. You hit it over there. Okay, so we learn from that. We do better next time. All right. So show me your sins, show me the thing, the substance of it, and we look for it. And just because we're looking with some clarity in the light of the clarity of our attention as we look around, we see there's nothing there, just a bunch of thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts, even if we have a bunch of thoughts. And feelings are just feelings. Even if we have a bunch of feelings about this thing where, oh, I was so bad, so sinful, or this thing where, oh, my relationship got so screwed up, or this thing where, oh, this job is so oppressive. Their feelings are just feelings. Thoughts are just thoughts. And recognizing that we can sometimes, if we're lucky, if things work out well, we can see our way to a lot of freedom. We can see that that all those thoughts, all those feelings are in the big space of freedom. And that big space is always there. By the way, in those stories where the punchline's always, and he was enlightened, it's taken me a long time to realize that does not necessarily mean that in one moment the person just went from total ignorance to total enlightenment and permanent, then that was it. He was just, instantly fully cooked. Probably what's translated there in these Zen stories is, and he realized Satori. Now, Satori can be just a moment, it's like, wow, you get that clarity. And yes, it has an impact on your life, but it doesn't mean that in one instant it's done. Like, oh, if I could only find the right Zen master, ask the right question, he'd hit me with this amazing answer, and then I don't have to bother with all this meditation and practice and insight and all that. Right? I mean, that stuff can help, and some of you have experienced this, right? I have. Tova, I know you've been with some teachers who've said some things to you that just it opens up some clarity, and to some degree now then you're living in that clarity, opens up some space, and to some degree you continue living in that space. Okay, let's go to the poem. So this is actually an excerpt from a longer kind of poetic discourse by Seng-chan. So I'll just read the whole thing and see what strikes you, and see if there's any particular passages that you want to talk about. And I've got a few that I'll want to. The translator's given this the title, the mind of absolute trust. The great way isn't difficult for those who are unattached to their preferences. Let go of longing and aversion, and everything will be perfectly clear. When you cling to a hairbreadth of distinction, heaven and earth are set apart. If you want to realize the truth, don't be for or against. The struggle between good and evil is the primal disease of the mind. Not grasping the deeper meaning, you just trouble your mind's serenity. As vast as infinite space, it is perfect and lacks nothing. But because you select and reject, you can't perceive its true nature. Don't get entangled in the world. Don't lose yourself in emptiness. Be at peace in the oneness of things, and all errors will disappear by themselves. If you don't live the Tao, and Tao here is Tao, the Tao, the way, the truth, the thing, the deal, the Dharma. If you don't live the Tao, you fall into assertion or denial. Asserting that the world is real, you are blind to its deeper reality. denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. The more you think about these matters, the farther you are from the truth. Step aside from all thinking, and there is nowhere you can't go. Returning to the root, you find the meaning. Chasing appearances, you lose their source. At the moment of profound insight, you transcend both appearance and emptiness. Don't keep searching for the truth. Just let go of your opinions. For the mind in harmony with the Tao, all selfishness disappears. With not even a trace of self-doubt, you can trust the universe completely. All at once, you are free, with nothing left to hold on to. All is empty, brilliant, perfect in its own being. In the world of things as they are, there is no self, no non-self. If you want to describe its essence, the best you can say is not two. In this not two, nothing is separate and nothing in the world is excluded. The enlightened of all times and places have entered into this truth. In it, there is no gain or loss. One instant is 10,000 years. There is no here, no there. Infinity is right before your eyes. The tiny is as large as the vast when objective boundaries have vanished. The vast is as small as the tiny when you don't have external limits. Being is an aspect of non-being. Non-being is no different from being. Until you understand this truth, you won't see anything clearly. One is all are one. When you realize this, what reason for holiness or wisdom? The mind of absolute trust is beyond all thought, all striving, is perfectly at peace, for in it there is no yesterday, no today, no tomorrow. So, this is resonating for you? You getting some juice from this? It's very good stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So non-dual.
Say it again, Kelly.
Non-dual.
Yeah. This is one of like the great documents. This is almost like the Declaration of Independence of non-duality. Yeah. There's a few of these documents, like this one, and the Heart Sutra is another that just really lays out this essential truth of non-duality. Any particular passages that struck you that you want to talk about?
It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. Kelly, you just described the poem and you just basically reiterated what the poem says. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. It's all the good stuff. There's actually another Zen story about a monk who was walking through a crowded marketplace one day. It's all jostling. The people are, buying and selling and haggling. And he happens to be passing a little table or booth or whatever it is where the butcher had set up shop. And there's a customer, and the customer's saying to the butcher, "Give me some of your best stuff." And the butcher says, "Hey, we got nothing but best stuff. Everything here is best." And the monk goes, "Gong," he like looks around up and down and left and right, and looks at the world and goes, wow, it's all the best stuff. We got nothing here but the best. Let's start. This first bit right here. I mean, we can just talk about this for a long time. The great way isn't difficult for those who are unattached to their preferences.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get that one as a tattoo.
It's a middle way. Middle.
Gets me into more trouble.
It gets you into more trouble. Good. Yeah.
My attachments.
Good trouble. Good trouble. Yeah. And I like the way this has been translated, because I've seen it. You have to be careful with this stuff sometimes. If it's not making sense, and if it was not written originally in English, sometimes the best thing is check a couple more translations, because this one with this opening bit is quite famous, and I've seen it translated as the great way isn't difficult for those who have no preferences. Right? And that just sounds too impossible. It sounds unapproachable. Of course I have preferences. If you're going to, what's for breakfast? Well, Dean, you can have this plate of waffles or this plate of rocks. Well, I would prefer the waffles. Right? I mean, that's the human side of our existence.
Reality.
Right? That's the human reality. There's also, we're talking about there is a level where waffles and rocks are the same thing. They're all part of the nothing but best here. It's all best. It's not a bad thing that there's rocks, but we don't eat them. We don't, right? So this is a much better translation. The great way isn't difficult for those who are unattached to their preferences. The preferences are there, but we don't have to, this is the thing, I'm saying all the time, just relax your grip on the thing, whatever the thing is. Whatever the thing is, you don't have to eliminate it from your world. That's not going to work. It's going to keep being there, right? But we don't have to hold it so tightly, right? Okay, I prefer waffles. Here's some rocks. Okay, now, and now what? What do we do in our next moment? But if you go, oh, it's goddamn rocks. What are they doing here in my life? See, then we're miserable. That's how we generate our own misery.
Dean,
Yes.
so I like the part where you said, don't bother yourself with good and evil.
Mhm.
Don't bother yourself with that war between good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little confused about the being and non-being are the same. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because I feel like we're always trying to make it the same in our lives so that all of it's like not a struggle, but I don't really understand the being, non-being. And also in the poem, you might have to fix this for me too. He says, don't think about things, just stop thinking about them. But the poem is really heady for me. So it's
Right.
hard for me not to think about what he says. So
Right.
anyway,
Right. Yeah.
questions there.
Yeah. No, I your point is so well taken. I mean, what are we doing? We're sitting here, we're discussing, we're doing all this intellectual analysis of this poem that says, let go of all your intellectual analysis.
Mhm.
And to some degree, that's what we do. We gotta, I always come back to the great line from T.S. Eliot where he says, I got to use words when I talk to you.
Mhm.
Right? The point of all these words is to get to the wordless. The point of all our thinking, if we're using words skillfully, if we're using intellectual analysis skillfully, which very few people do, you know, in the context of Dharma practice, where we keep being reminded to do this. We use the words and the thoughts, the logic, the intellectual analysis to cut through our misunderstanding, not to try to construct truth, but to try to reveal our delusion, right? And actually, he in a sense, he says that this is a really favorite part of mine, where he says, don't keep searching for the truth, just let go of your opinions, right? Isn't that power? Can you, that's, I think that's very clear and very powerful. Don't keep searching for truth. Just stop cherishing your opinions. Stop holding on to your opinions. When you yes,
you said that I probably learned from some teachers that they
Mhm.
say something. So one of the things I learned from you is loosen the grip. And
Yeah.
I use it with my patients a lot now.
Oh, good,
That's one.
good.
And in the last meeting with Charles Janud,
Hmm.
I asked him a question, something, and he said, Tova, just get rid of your concepts and you'll be free.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Just get rid of your concepts. Now, get rid of them. I mean, if we want to look at that a little bit more closely, again, this is, do we have to get rid of them? No, we just have to stop gripping them so hard. You know, and I'm sure that's
He said, let go. I may
yes, like right,
accept.
exactly. You know, and when you become familiar enough with this stuff, that you can feel more and more confidence in what the teacher said or what the teacher meant, no matter how the words are remembered or how the words are translated, you know.
Dean,
Yes.
I think I've just freed up my own answers to that. I've always thought of poetry as using words to explain something that words can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
So when you read that, he's
Right.
saying something with words that is beyond words. So
Yeah.
now I understand what that's about.
Right.
That
And
makes
I
sense
would,
to you?
and I, you know, I really like that. And I would even tweak one word there. I would say poetry is not using words to explain something that can't be said. It's using words to evoke something that can't be said.
Yeah.
Right. To call it forth, to call forth. I mean, if you really got it working, to call forth the experience of the thing.
Because
Right.
using explain means more like words. And what you're
Yeah.
saying now is more of a kind of a ephemeral.
Yeah, to reveal the thing and explain. I think of as like, okay, I'm gonna.
More
This
words.
is what explaining is like. What I'm doing all the
Yeah.
time. I'm an explainer, but you know that happens to be my skill set. You
That's
know,
a good correction.
yeah. If you're a poet, you're saved from having to do all this explaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the great famous poem by Wallace Stevens. I don't have it in front of me, but basically, I think I can remember it. Some of you will know this one. It's called the Red Wheelbarrow. Right. So much
It's
depends.
not Wallace Stevens.
It's not Wallace Stevens. William Carlos Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. William Carlos Williams, great New Jersey poet. Right. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. Right? Right? Boom, there it is. Right? No explanation there. It's all completely, here I go explaining, sorry. But what can I do? It keeps, every time I look, it keeps being me.
That's why we're here, is to hear you.
Okay, good. But just keep listening for this silence that I'm trying to point to with all these words, this silent thing, which Wallace Stevens evokes. I'm trying to explain it. He evokes it. You feel all that silence. William Carlos Williams. Thank you, Yafa. Right. Well, this guy had a W. They both have a W. It's not my fault. The silence of,
Can I just
yes,
say,
please.
my response to the poem was, I wish, now I can't remember, is this Chinese or
He's
Japanese?
Chinese. He's Chinese.
Okay, because I just am wondering if it's more evocative in the native language, because to me it just felt a little too on the nose to like abstract words that kind of say exactly what philosophy, I mean not philosophy, but you know, like Dharma words say. And I just felt like as a poem I was kind of almost missing more evocative stuff. And I wonder if it just is lost in translation.
Yeah, it's pretty explainy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't have, it's, you know, the Red Wheelbarrow in those couple of lines is more, in a sense, is more evocative than the whole 3-4 pages of this thing, in terms of putting you in a scene. I mean, right? So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens, right? Can you smell the air? Right? That with the way the air, because we know, look how much doesn't have to be said there, right? We know exactly what that sky is like. It's after the rain has cleared. The chickens, which have been sheltering in the barn during the rain, have now come back out. The gentle clucking of the chickens when they come back out again, they're starting to look around for seeds on the ground and so forth. The rainwater is still glazing the wheelbarrow. Why is the wheelbarrow there? Why was it left out in the rain? Right? Must have been a sudden storm. Someone was in the middle of this activity. Someone was in the middle of doing all this farming activity and then had suddenly ran into the house, abandoning the wheelbarrow there. What did he or she do during the rainstorm? Sit back, have a cup of cocoa, look out the window, watch the rain. So we're caught up in our activity. We're being productive. We're getting stuff done. And then all of a sudden, due to circumstances beyond our control, we just got to stop. We just got to let it go. All that is there without any of it being said. That's evocative, right? And now the sun is coming back out, glazed with rainwater. Can you see that sun, the light of the sun just reemerging from behind the clouds? And that rainwater on the rim of the wheelbarrow, glazing it, like the glazing, like the icing on a cake or a cookie or something. What about that first line? It's all completely concrete, except the first line. So much depends upon. What's going on there? What depends upon it? What depends upon the red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens? What depends upon it?
Yafa and Dean, you guys will love the music relation to this. Is the quote that music is actually the space in between the notes, not the notes themselves.
Yeah.
And I love that when being a classical musician, when people say, oh yeah, that's the pinnacle of music. I go, no. Right. There's a lot of art in all types and all genres of music. And just because it's simplified or more condensed or more vertical doesn't mean it's lost, and it's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, music is the praise of silence. You know, My dad was a classical musician. He was an oboe player. And I grew up with him playing. We had all these classical, LPs in the house, and my father would play them, and he would, talk his way. He would point things out to me, and very often he'd put something on the turntable, and he would conduct his way through he said he could lose 4 or 5 pounds conducting his way through a Beethoven symphony. But the one thing I always remembered him pointing out to me, the most familiar passage to people in all of, Western classical music, right? It's the equivalent of like to be or not to be. If you've never read a line of Shakespeare, everyone knows to be or not to be. So the equivalent of that in classical music is the opening of the Beethoven Fifth, right? But what my father pointed out to me is everyone thinks they know that, but everyone hears it wrong. He said, because they all hear it as, right, starting on the downbeat, da,
Right.
da, da, da.
Yeah, but it's ba.
Yes, exactly. Right. It's not on the downbeat, da, 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 da. It's da, 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 da. Right. It's the silence. And that completely transforms it. It's can you all hear the difference? The difference between da 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 and da 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 da. It's bouncing off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's bouncing off of the silence into that statement rather than rushing in with the statement. It's completely different. Yep.
But okay, good. That brings me to my question in the poem with ironically, it's still aggressive. I feel like, the symphony is still like, and you still feel like it's kind of hitting you, but yet it's back in the, it's very interesting. But that was it aggressor? What was the word that was in there that starts with an A, and it was something in the poem?
In the poem?
Yeah. I can't remember if it was
Asserting?
Yeah, it was asserting. Yeah, that was. Can you reread that line, please?
Asserting that the world is real. Oh, wait, no, let me see it. Asserting that the world is real, you are blind to its deeper reality. Denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. Okay.
That was my favorite.
This is steep. This is steep. Okay. This is an argument that Yaffa and I have all the time. She's always getting mad at me for allegedly claiming that, everything's unreal. I have to keep explaining to her, no, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, so look at the first part. Asserting that the world is real. Okay, who's that? Who does that? Most people. Most people, they don't even think of that as an assertion. That's the only reality they know. And by the world here, we mean, the world of, three-dimensional stuff, time, space, objects, events, cause, effect, right? So if we say, okay, that's reality. Reality is a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of things interacting in time and space in these chains of cause and effect. That's it. Right? That's the worldview of most people. That's called the materialist worldview. Right? Most people don't even realize it's a view. They just think, well, it's reality. Right? I don't see anything else. But what happens, according to the poem, if you do that, what's the problem with that materialist worldview? Asserting that the world is real, you are blind to its deeper reality. Right? There is some deeper reality that people are missing if their view is, life is just one damn thing after another. Right?
Sure.
That's why we're all here together doing this. This is why we do Dharma. Is we know there's something wrong, there's something missing from the materialist view. And so one way or another, we look for the alternate view, which is the spiritual worldview. So now he takes on the spiritual worldview in the next line. Denying that the world is real, or the extreme spiritual worldview, right? This is what in philosophy is called the idealist view. Not ideal like, oh, everything's great, but ideal like, okay, all there is the spirit. All there is the, so the material view, all there is material. There's no spirit. There's nothing deeper. Then the other view, it's all just spirit. It's all, right? And the world is not real. Denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. The selflessness of all things. Okay? Selflessness. And this is not, there's, again, coming back to Yafa's point earlier, the translation is always tricky. In English, the word selfless has basically two senses, two meanings. One is generous, right? Generous, selfless, generous. Okay, you can have the bigger piece of cake, being selfless. The other meaning of selfless is the Dharma meaning of it, which is in the Buddhist term here is anatta. If we look for, is there some little, where's this person? Where's this thing that I think I am? Where's this Dean thing? And the more we look for it, the more we find, no, there's just open, empty, aware space. Open, empty, aware space. Which, in this pocket over here, it's like just the flowing river of existence, and here and there the river whirls into little eddies, and this little eddy over here, the eddy has a shape, it has a dynamic, it moves in certain ways, it has a location. There's another little eddy, another little whirlpool over there, has a different location, different shape, different speed, and so forth. So it like takes on an identity. And this little eddy over here calls itself Dean. And this little eddy over here calls itself Judy or Tova or Kelly or whatever. Right? And on one sense, they have form, they have shape, they have, but if we look at it, what is it? It's just, there's nothing there. It's all nothing but the water of the stream. Right? If you look into the little eddy, the little whirlpool, what is there at its core? Nothing, space. And that's the selflessness of all things. And it's not just a philosophical, for a lot of people, it's a philosophical statement. For, if we're doing meditation practice, we have that experience. We settle down and, it's just this, we settle down beneath where we're engaged in all the mental constructions of identity. Oh, this sound, ding, ding, that sound somehow is me. No, it's not. It's just a sound. These thoughts I have, these memories I have somehow are me. No, they're just thoughts. Like, show me your sins. Show me your history. I can't find it. All I can find is thoughts. So denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. See, so we're redeeming things. We don't have to rule out the things, say, oh, they're all just a bunch of illusion. They're all participants they're all wonderful expressions of the same boundlessness, the same, of the spirit. In other words, if the two mistakes are to, by just 100% affirming the material reality, we deny the spirit. The other, all we do is affirm 100% the spirit, we deny the material. And the wisdom here is the material is nothing but spirit. Spirit is the material. And this is, I mentioned earlier, the Heart Sutra. right? This is the famous, the great pith teaching, pith instruction of the Heart Sutra is form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness is no other than form, right? And they notice they have to state it both ways. It's like you have to say 2 + 2 is 4, and 4 is 2 + 2. Just make sure the whole thing's bulletproof, because you're going to immediately the logical mind starts looking for escape clauses. And then in the next line, because we're still going to try to philosophize our way out of it. Oh, what they really mean is they say, no. Then they say, form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. All right? So that's essentially what this is saying here, you know. And the thing where Yaffa keeps saying, oh, you just keep saying that life is nothing, you know, this world is nothing but a dream. I think my favorite quote on that is from Rupert Spira. I've heard him say this more than once, where someone wait, how does he say it? Oh, he says, yeah, this it's all, you know, someone's saying, all this stuff, is this real? And he says, yeah, it's all completely real, just like a dream. You know, and then if you cross-examine him on that, he'll say, you know, dreams are real. Dreams are real. They're experienced. It's a real experience. This is a real experience. This is a real experience. You know, when we're having the dream, it's the only reality we know. The tiger's chasing me. I feel the terror. That terror is very real, and my suffering is very real. Now, it would be really, and within the dream, you know, the tiger is assumed he's made out of, you know, fur and fangs and all of that, and I'm in this body that's running through the jungle that appears to be made out of, you know, flesh and blood and so forth. Now, when I wake up, where does it all go? I go, whew, oh, thank God it was only a dream. It was a real experience, but it wasn't made out of, you know, carbon and oxygen and nitrogen. It was made out of awareness. It was awareness arising as tiger, jungle, chase. It was that. And what is awareness like? It's empty. And we can especially see that in that moment of waking up from a dream. All that stuff that seems so substantial, oh, it's empty. It's empty because it was made of awareness, and the nature of awareness is empty. Okay? We can see that. We can see that that's clear. And yet it can take on very, very detailed form. Right? But our mistake was assuming that behind the experiences in the dream, there's some objectively, independently existent reality that gives rise to it. In other words, there's a tiger out there, independent of the awareness of it, that gives rise to the experience of tiger. All there is, where actually it all is just manifesting within empty awareness. Okay? So we wake up and go, phew, it was only a dream. And then we go about our life. Oh no, whatever's your version of the tiger in waking life. Oh no, the COVID is chasing me. Oh no, the unemployment is chasing me. Oh no, the cancer is chasing me. Right? All seems very real. And it is real. It's completely real, just like a dream. Right? It's a real experience. And certainly we prefer pleasant dreams to unpleasant dreams. If we can, you know, within the dream, it would make sense to do everything you can to have, you know, if I can have the dream if I've got some choice, I seem to have some amount of free will within this dream, so I can conduct myself in such a way that I get the dream of not catching COVID rather than the dream of catching COVID. I'll take that one. But, as it says right at the beginning of this, the great way isn't difficult for those who are unattached to their preferences. I'm going to have the preferences, but if they're like ultimate, attached means must be this way. Must be this way. If I don't get my preference, then all is lost. Right? Then life is no longer good. There's this abiding goodness of life, no matter how it turns out. Right? This is the real optimism. Most people, they define optimism as, well, you think everything, like that great song by Bob Marley, right? Three Little Birds, right? Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing's gonna be all right. Okay? It's a wonderful song. I love it. I do that one on the ukulele. But the reason to not worry about a thing is not because every little thing is going to turn out right. It's because every little thing has a deeper rightness, whether it turns out right according to our definition or not. Because it's all empty. Because it's all real, just like a dream. There's a greater waking up from this one. The Yogi Vasishta, great Hindu sage, said there's two kinds of dreams, the short ones and the long one. Okay? Two kinds of dreams, the short ones and the long one. Because in each case, all we experience is our experience. All we experience is awareness arising. All we experience is awareness arising in the forms of these different adventures. You never experience anything outside of your own awareness, by definition. How can you be aware of something outside of your own awareness? You can't, by definition. All we experience is awareness, and we call it your awareness, as if there's a person who that awareness belongs to. But the more we sit and marinate in meditation, the more clearly we experience that awareness does not belong to some person. There's no proprietor. It's just awareness. It's just pure, open, empty, aware space. And everything we think of as a person, as a proprietor who could possibly own that awareness, that this is Dean's awareness versus, this is Barbara's awareness, or this is Scott's awareness, that's part of the forms that we're experiencing, part of the dream. Right? So when we wake up from the dream of the tiger chasing us, we go, it was only a dream. Right? The little instruction I gave in the meditation today, which actually comes from Sri Ramana Maharshi, which is, let what comes come, let what goes go, see what remains. Right? I stole that from Ramana Maharshi. Let what comes come, let what goes go, see what remains. Okay? So that's the instruction for meditation, and that's the instruction for living. Right? Some stuff comes, the tiger's coming. Then what happens? We wake up, the tiger goes away. What remains? What remains? Okay? Ultimately, all this stuff in the so-called reality, or as Vasishta calls it, the long dream, there's a greater waking up. There's a waking up out of that. And we realize, all this time, just as in the tiger dream, I assumed there was an independent, objective reality outside of awareness giving rise to those experiences. How could there be? How could there be? So we wake up out of that, and then, what comes, comes. What goes, go. The COVID comes, the the worldwide recession comes, the authoritarian thugs taking over the government come. Within the dream, we do everything. We be good citizens. We do everything we can to make it a pleasant dream for ourselves and others. We, do our citizens' duty and so forth. But ultimately, maybe at the moment of death, if we're skillful in our practice, we don't have to wait for the moment of death. There's a waking up out of that where we see, oh, it comes and it goes, and what remains? What remains is this boundlessness. What remains is this pure awareness, selflessness, as it says in the poem, Atma, Brahman, God, the Tao, the Great Way. See what remains. So, thank you. May all beings swiftly see what remains, and thus may all beings be happy. Thank you so much. I'm having so much fun. I hope you are too.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Remember that guy used to be on the Steve Allen show? Why not? See you later.
And example.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya.
Was very short. It
Say it
felt
again.
like it feels like it was very short.
Oh, time flies when I'm having fun.
By the way, Dean,
Thank
I
you.
don't know how to say it. Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, or the guy in the Bible that says everything is you know which one I mean? In
No.
the Jewish and Christian Bible, the
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes, Yafa, help me.
Is it what language are you in? Are you in Hebrew?
No.
Sounds like
In Hebrew, it's Kohelet. It's the guy that says everything is, and there are many translations, and you can translate it as everything is nonsense, or you can translate it everything is spirit.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, Tova, can you email me that, because that sounds like something I can use.
Yeah, I totally looked in this book to see if they have a chapter on him, but I'll send it to you.
Okay.
You
yeah.
have a Bible?
Yeah. I got a Bible. Me and
Okay,
Donald Trump.
so-
Me and Donald Trump. We got Bibles.
Yeah, it's the name would be ECC, starts with ECC.
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ecclesiastes. Right.
yeah,
Good.
that
Okay.
guy.
That guy. Yeah. And if you got the and if you have a reference to like a chapter or verse number, that would be very helpful.
Definitely.
And
Yeah,
any
I'm about to start reading him because in Jewish tradition, which I just found out,
yeah.
last week was the holiday of Sukkot, and in
Right.
Sukkot they read that. I can't say the word in English.
Yeah.
And
Ecclesiastes.
so I started reading a little bit, and lo and behold, I find out so many articles, modern articles about it, about the meaning of it.
Right. Yeah, so because that's Old Testament, that's going to be originally in Hebrew. So anything you can send me in particular about that verse and the two interpretations about it being
I will. I have
all,
several Bibles, so I'll take pictures of several
Great.
translations.
Great.
Okay?
Okay, thanks so much. Okay.
Okay.
Good. See ya.
Bye. How's the baby?
The baby's beautiful, doing great.
Great.